Good morning, Rabbi Isai. This is going around on Sparks of the Nation, other places. Chaim Levin spent this weekend at the Kesher Nafshi Shabbaton. Why was he there? To man a booth aimed at trying to get people to sign up to Eli Stefansky's Daf Yomi shir. Really? Is it really worth it? Chaim found out how worth it was when a woman came over to him. At the last Kesher Nafshi Shabbos 6 months ago, you got my husband to sign up to Rebelli's shir and gave him a free arts of Gemara. He had not opened up a Gemara before then for 22 years. Since then, I must tell you, he has not missed a day. Peretz Chaim now knew why he mans that booth, changing lives one Gemara at a time. He sent me another text message this morning from another person who said that he got a Gemara. The wife came over. The husband got a Gemara in Stanford. And the kids weren't learning. He wasn't learning. He was a kollel guy that dropped out of learning for many years. And now he's back, Baruch Hashem. Good vach. This is from Avraham Tikotsky. Just finished listening to your shir before I went to bed. I was learning the Sefer Pele Yoitz. Just so happened, I was up to Achilu Shtia, and he brings down that story that you said over. That exact daf and that exact story. It's a kiss from Hashem. Yishkoich Chaver Talmud Avraham Tikotsky. Of course, Avraham Tikotsky, every time I mention his name, he gave me that beautiful Yonah Weinrib piece of art the first day of COVID. It arrived. He sent it months earlier, but it arrived the first day of COVID, the day that everybody's depressed. We left the Beis Medrash. It was perfect timing. So I read 2 emails about people that were complaining about the turning of the daf sponsorship. Yesterday we got, 10 emails. I'm not going to read all of them. Good vach Rebelli. Thank you for stopping in the middle of the daf to read the Mishnah and Amud dedications. So today, not a single one was negative. They're all positive to give chizuk. It reminds me that if I'm learning with the right intention, which is to connect to Hashem, and chas v'shalom not for the selfish reasons like watching Yoshi's animations, then learning can have an effect on the Neshamas, both past and present, positively. Anonymous, Izzy Itzkowitz. Rabbi said, this actually brought tears to my eyes when I saw this picture. Young, vibrant, Avi Mandelbaum on the right. Dear Reveli, as someone who took upon himself to learn the daf from my brother, who was recently nifter, I think it's an important feature to keep the mid-daf sponsorship. I find it an enhancement of our learning to be reminded of those whom we are learning. While I realize that this isn't democracy and there is probably 0% chance that the sponsorship will be removed, I just felt it was important to speak in support of them after hearing the pile-on of emails objecting to the sponsorship. Thank you for the shir, Yossi Mandelbaum. Thanks for keeping on doing the daf. He started for his brother. I see he's still with it. Givaldik. Chemi. Oh, I got to take out his email address. Sorry. Sorry. My bad. Dear Rav, I've heard a lot of emails you read complaining about the turning of the daf, bringing an interruption to learning. It reminds me of some of the early complaints. But he had a very interesting point. One thought about because I said who's Reb Shimon Gamliel, is the younger one or the great grandfather. So he said he has a right that it's like me, because he learned once that if it says Omar comes after the name, it's coming to argue, and if it's Omar Reb Shimon Gamliel before the name, it's not coming to argue. So because it says in a way that it's arguing, so it must be that Rebbe saw him. It was his father. If I'm wrong, I understand. Okay, another one from Perry. Okay, I think we got the point here. I'm astounded by the vocal minority expressing it's not bittul Torah at all. It is not bittul Torah at all. It would take the same amount of time to read the sponsorship regardless of when it's read. More important, it's not bittul Torah because it's an integral part of the shir. Ein kemach ein Torah. Sponsorships allow MDY to thrive as a global organization. Without sponsorship, MDY would be 19 guys sitting in the back of Holy Bagel sipping cappuccinos and wondering how Maaser Sheni works. Being unique is what gives MDY a broad appeal. The Amud Beis sponsorship is part of the unique geschmack that makes MDY great. Bottom line, Rebelli, you do remember that only the great have naysayers. Perry. And Rabbi Isai, here's a video from our good chaver, Avrumi Leibowitz, your friend Avrumi, and his son. We're just talking about hawks in Chicago. Check out what happened in his house in Borough Park. I thought it's an amazing video, actually. In Borough Park, there's no audio, but look at that air conditioner. I love those air conditioners in the windows. They still sell them for Borough Park only in New York. They never heard of. Look at this thing, the size of it, and he's sitting on top of a pigeon. Unbelievable.
I don't think
That's what that is Borough Park. He sees trees. And finally, my name is Noam Katan. I'm 14 years old and I graduated middle school last week. I wanted to make a nice design on my graduation cap that represented me. I have been doing the daf with you since Nazir and I enjoy the Rav Shir a lot. I decided it would be a good idea to make a design from your logo. I turned the D in MDY into a B and wrote on the bottom, moving beyond youth, instead of America's Daf Yomi. I hope you like it. I love it. Check it out. So Mazel Tov on your graduation. And, okay, we'll have to read the rest later. Oh, Yaakov Rosner. Okay, I can't read this. Today is Reb Yaakov Rosner. He comes all over from Yerushalayim every single day on 2 buses. And today, he's 71 years old. And he gave the whole oilam a bracha. I can't believe I covered 1,276 daf with MDY. 1,276. I wish to give a bracha on this big day that all of you should be zoicha to grand tzima shas with good health and happiness. Hashem should fulfill all our wishes. Keep steiging. Yishkoyach. Mazel tov. He gave us a bracha. The koilel. Sponsored by Anonymous from Lakewood. L'refuah shlema for my mother-in-law, Yishkoyach, Shalamis Esther Bas Bela. Second sponsor, the koilel. Lili Nishmas Chaim ben Moshe, Lili Nishmas Tzirel ben Moshe. The Masechta, sponsored by Moshe Banda, to thank Hashem that I'm able to thank Him for everything that I have. Lili Nishmas Chaim bas Yosef is the Paras HaChodesh. Second Paras HaChodesh. Hashem should open up all the tzinorot's bracha for Baruch Tzvi Nissim ben Shoshana Lea. Third Paras, Jeff Rosner. Maaser 2. The remainder, Lili Nishmas, Yosef Simcha, Chaim ben Shlomo Yehuda, all of us Shalom. Paras HaWeek, Avraham, Kahen, Neshama, Emuna, Rivka, Binyamin, who was 20 years old. Unbelievable. 20-year-old girl was nifter who passed away, and her father and brother are missing their Torah learning because they're sitting shiva. Happy anniversary to Tzirel Farkovits. Thanks for always being there for us. And ruchniyus and gashmis are from Meir, Yisrael Dov, and Tzirel Farkovits. Paras Hayoim for Refuah Shlema, Mindel Rezel Bas Tzivia. Paras Hayoim, Yitzchak Rosenthal. Refuah Shlema, Avraham ben Chava Mindel, Ubsurus Toys Bekarev. Or maybe Ivrim ben Chava Mindel. Okay? Refuah Shlema for Tzipora Necha Bas Miriam. And Lili Nishmas, Chana Bluma Bas Sil Yaakov Levin on a yard side, again from Paris Chaim Levin, transplanted from Ponovich, Lithuania to America, was able to raise a family of many daughters of Bnei Torah and Yerushalayim by her grandson Paris Chaim Levin. 6 Parnas Hayoim. Amanda Jeski, in memory of my brother-in-law Mordechai Yonah ben David, Mark ben David. Wow, we're going to have to do less emails, more sponsorships. 7th Parnas Hayoim. Ran Ozani for the yard side of Elchanan ben David Kahen. Lili Nishmas, Yechiel Eliezer ben Yitzchak Meir, and Rivka Rachel ben Chaya for Shidduch for Tzadik ben Leah. And finally, L'refuah Shlema for Dvara Bas Sarah Diba. She should have Refuah Shlema. She's going through a procedure today. Should go well. Start of the month for complete Refuah for Chaim T ben Leah. Boys, here we go. I just have to tell you a real quick story that happened to me yesterday. Thought it was very funny. Yeah. Shalom Aleichem. We have a guest from
California.
What's your name?
Shimon Kagan.
Shimon Kagan, Shalom Aleichem. Welcome. Send regards. You know these guys? These Kamianskis? Yesterday, I didn't get a chance to learn with my chavrusa when I usually get to learn with him. I was extremely tired. It was a long Motzei Shabbos night. So I figured I'll learn with him in the afternoon. And he calls me up and says, my brother's getting married, so I can't learn with you. But we're doing pictures now. Why don't you come over? So I came over there, learned with him, and I left. As I leave, I get to my car, the chassan comes running out of the hall. He says, where do you think you're going? The chuppah is starting soon, you better be here. So I'm like, I gotta go. So I'm wearing my Lululemon pants, they're nice and comfortable. No tie, no hat. I look like my shoes, I just stepped in the construction work in my house. Mud all over. He says, no, you're coming to the chuppah. Okay, fine. The chassan himself. So I sit in the back, I'm schmoozing with my chavrusa. The middle of chuppah, mechubed with bracha achrita, Eli Stefansky. Maaser Shaya, bracha, not the middle, not the end.
I know this story is true because I was learning last night with someone
someone who's after the wedding, and they told me the story.
I wore somebody's hat. I don't know what it looked like. No tie. I was like, ugh, whatever. Okay, just thought, as long as you guys enjoyed it, I'm happy. It's worth the story. Rabbi Yisai, we're holding here in the middle of a beautiful sugya. We have two machloikesin. If bitloi mevutal, if he's bottom mevutal, although Rabbi Gamliel was masakin, he said you cannot cancel a get. What happens if he went ahead and he canceled it? He took a bezdin and he canceled it. How many people are in a bezdin, Rabbi Yisai? 2 or 3 machlokes. What happens? Then we had another machlokes. When you're mevatel 1 out of 10, let's say, this 10 shlichim, does it work? Do all of them have to be canceled? Do you have to cancel in front of the rest? Do you have to cancel in front of the rest of the shayla here? Yoshi did art yesterday, which because I was tired, I didn't even bother looking, and he did it, so we're going to use it today. Rebbe says you could be mevatel each one individually. They don't have to be together with each other, where Reb Shimon Gamliel holds, you need them all together in one place, and we're going to see a little bit about this. All right, Zok the Gemara. We'll just take it back a few lines here. Va'af Reb Yoshid min Usha, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12 lines from the bottom. Va'af Reb Yoshid min Usha Sovar Chodik Rebbe v'Chodik Reb Shimon Gamliel Amud Gimel Amud Beis, 12 lines from the bottom. Remember yesterday, Reb Yoshid min Usha was brought down maybe 4 times in Shas. He holds that one of these machlokesen goes like Reb Shimon Gamliel and one goes like Rebbe. We don't know which one is what. Well, we'll see. Doma Rabbi Rav Chana. Rabbi Rav Chana, who's brought down in Shas how many times? 317 I found, but it could be much less because it doubles. But he's the Talmud of Rabbi Yoshid Minusha that's only mentioned 4 times. That's what I thought was interesting. We were 5 Talmid Chacham sitting in front of him. Also, there's a bad guy, he didn't want to give a get. We actually have a picture of him. And basically they forced him to give a get. They did something that he gave a get. You force him, choke him until he says Roitzani. You must hide and write the get. Why? Seems like because if they wouldn't hide, then the guy that was forced to give the get would come back and he would tell them, I'm canceling the get. Yeah, 5 minutes ago I was in a chokehold. Right now I'm not. I don't want to give a get. Cancel. So if you disappear, you won't be able to cancel. Was that a raya that you cannot cancel in front of a bezin? If the guy was forced, all he needs to do is run to 2 people or 3 people and say, hey, I'm about to get. He's a bad guy to begin with. Think about it. Bezin begged him to give a get. He doesn't want to give a get. Bezin were forced to go out of the comfort zone and force him and hit him and I don't know what, threaten him. So he's not a guy that really cares about Bezin this way, Bezin that way. He'll grab 3 people and say, even though Rabbi Gamliel said you shouldn't do it, I'm doing it. Raya is that we don't paskin like Rabbi Shimon Gamliel. We paskin, we paskin, we don't paskin like Rebbe. According to Rebbe, you could cancel. So what do you gain by hiding? So it goes like this. In the case of Bitl Mevutal, we hold like Rabbi Shimon Gamliel that you cannot cancel a get in front of a bezdin. The only other option is to cancel in front of the 5 Talmid Chachamim. Hide. He won't be able to cancel it. And if you say the other machlokes, that you must cancel one in front of all of them, why do they need to hide? All you need to do is put one guy on the 2nd floor. And he does not hiding. Here I am, I'm on the 2nd floor, but you need to do it in front of me and in front of everybody at the same time. I don't have to hide in a closet. I just need to be on a different block. And then he will never be able to cancel, because in order to cancel, according to Reb Shimon Gamliel, they all have to be in the same room. You see from here that he paskin, and here's the next chart. One machlokes goes like Rebbe, the one on the left, that you could cancel, even if you don't have all 10. And the other one goes like Reb Shimon Gamliel, that in order, you cannot be mevatel bizman hazeh in front of a bezdin. And what's the svara? Because Rosh Hashanah says in Cain, my koyach bezdin yafa. What good did my grandfather do when he was misakin that you can't cancel b'zman hazeh? If you could go ahead and cancel. V'Rava Amar Rav Nachman, and Rava says in the name of Rav Nachman, halacha kerebi b'shneim. Here we go. Both of the cases, the halacha is like Rebbe, and in fact, we're going to see later on the last words on Lamed Amud Aleph say that the halacha is exactly like this. The halacha is like Rabbi Nachman, that the halacha is like both Rebbes. No, not one like Rabbi Shimon Gamliel, both like Rebbe. But what does that mean? That in Bitl Mevutel, you could be mevatel today. I could go in front of a bezin today and say, I'm canceling the get, even though it's not in front of my wife, not in front of the shliach. What about imkei my koyach bezin yafa? I don't care about my koyach bezin yafa. I don't care about the power of bezin. As the Gemara, we see in another case that he's very concerned about the power of bezin. You have these youngsters, 9, 10-year-olds, that want to split up, divide their father's real estate. Bezdin gives apitropos for each and every one of the boys. Each one gets his own agent, or what is it called? Guardian, thank you. Each one gets their own guardian. Let the guardians fight it out. They'll obviously come to some sort of pshara and understanding. This guy gets this building in Manhattan, this guy gets that building, everything's great. But when they get older, they could ask for a reversal. Why? Because what if one of the boys gets a Yerusha from, let's say, another grandfather that he has that other boys don't have, and the buildings are right next to each other? Well, the building that he got is far away from the other building. He wants it in the same city, like his other brother. He wants to do a switcheroo with his brother. Now it makes more sense to him. Even though the value is the same, but for some reason right now it doesn't make sense for him. And he wants to change it, he could change it. But it comes from Nachman. They cannot take it back. Why? So you see there, Rav Nachman holds this idea that once Bezin paskins, whether you like it or not, whether there's a mistake or not a mistake, whatever it is, Bezin has a power to do things that you cannot overturn later on. So how come when it comes to get, he doesn't hold that Rav Gamliel instituted that you cannot take back a get by going to a Bezdin? Doesn't he hold that? Says Gemara, Hasam Mamayna Hacha Isura. So the famous Musag in Shas, Hefker, Bezdin Hefker, when Bezdin takes something out of your possession, they have the right to. They can take anything they want and say it's Hefker. So when it comes to Mamanas, they could take Yerusha and say, this building's not yours, it's your brother's. You could scream and kick and do whatever you want. It's too bad. We said it's his and that's it. End the story. Hachi Surah. But over here, when we say Makoyach Bezdin Yafa, what did we say yesterday? That we're going to have to go back and say that his Kiddushin wasn't a Kiddushin. His Bia wasn't a Bia's Kiddushin, it was a Bia's Nus. That's already much tougher. That's not a halacha of Hefker Bezdin Hefker. Over here, they're dealing with Eishes Ish, and they want to overturn Eishes Ishes. That much, Reb Nachman doesn't hold that Bezdin has the power. Just real quickly, were you here before? You look familiar, but you're still a guest. Shoshana Lea, what's your name? Rokach. From? London. Okay. I could have guessed that. Okay, beautiful. Says the Gemara, yesterday we had like 5-6 guests. I was in a different world. I didn't say hello, I didn't nothing. So I apologize to all the guests. I did say hello to Yossi Shenker. He's still here today. Shalom Aleichem Yossi. Gidol Baal Ilui, Shodala Gidol Advisu. There's a story where Gidol sent a get to his wife. Ozel Shlicha Ashkecha Davi Yosef Benovla. The Shliach came and saw that she's weaving here, like this picture. She was very composed, huh? Whatever. Like, we don't. Yeah, that's not her. Like that from Sefta Shabbos. Yes. Omar Law. Omar Law Hogitech. He shocks her. She's in the middle of knitting, and he comes and says, by the way, good news, here's your get. Omar Lei, she says to him, Zil Hashta, leave right now. Come back tomorrow. I'm very busy now. Unfazed. She couldn't care less. Almost to the point where she knew her husband better than the shliach. She realized if she gives her husband a little bit more time to think it over, he'll probably relax and take it back. So he comes back to the husband. And he says, this is what happened. She didn't take it. She said, come back tomorrow. He immediately said, Baruch Tzvi Nissim. Wow, what a chesed Hashem. I didn't want to divorce her. I thought about it, and I took it back, but it was too late. The Rebbe Gamliel says you can't cancel it in the middle, go to Bezin. To chase you, I couldn't chase. Whoa, what a nice. Unbelievable. Hatoiv HaMeitiv. So now we have a beautiful sugya of Gilui Das Beget. Could I divorce a woman or undivorce her? I send her get, and everybody understands that I don't want to do it. It's obvious I don't want to divorce her. I'm chasing the shliach. Why am I chasing him? Because I want to stop him, right? I'm throwing things. I'm screaming. I never said the words, I want to cancel. But I did everything but that. Everybody that's there understands. Is that enough? Gilu das. Everybody understands what's in my mind, but I didn't really say the words. Very good. He said, Baruch Hashem. What does Baruch Hashem mean? Baruch Hashem doesn't say cancel the get. Baruch Hashem means blesses Hashem. Everybody understands that he meant this. Oh, it's beautiful that he didn't divorce, that he didn't give it to her. Chesed Hashem. But he didn't say the words. He didn't say the words. Too bad. It doesn't matter what he means. Dvarim shebelev and dvarim. We know what he means. There's no question what he meant. We're not questioning what he meant. He meant, I didn't want to divorce my wife. But he didn't say the words. He has to say, bottle. Get. It's chal. If the guy, the shoita shliach, didn't get the idea, he goes back to the wife the next day, and he said, you told me to come back tomorrow. Here's a get. Okay, I'll take it. She thought that the husband thought it over for a whole day, and he still wants a divorce. She takes it. Let's say that's what happened. So she's divorced because it's a good get. Rava Amar, Baruch Tzvi Nissim, ubatal gita. Rava says that Lemaisi said, thank you Hashem for not letting her take it. And that's Gilu Das and Get. And Gilu Das and Get is a good get, is a good Gilu Das, it works, and it's mevatel the get, there's no get. So, if you had a paskin, who would you paskin like?
I think you need clarity. You need clarity.
No, it's very clear. It's very clear.
It wasn't clear.
That's not the question here.
No, he doesn't say it. He doesn't say it. And in Gittin, for sure you need clarity.
But I know, I get it, but I'll tell you right now, it's 100% that that's what he meant. 100%. Is it a get or not a get? You need to say it. You need to say it. It's clear, but he didn't say it. Okay. So this is one of the only times in the entire Shas, out of hundreds of machlekes between Abaye and Rava, that the halach is like Abaye. Yal kigam. Okay? The halacha is like Abaye, that there's no gilui das in a get. You can't say, oh, this is what he meant. It says the whole machlekes is understanding what he wants. Is that enough? Does he have to say the words? It doesn't count. Okay. How do I know that Gilui Das is enough? The Rav Sheshes Ashkelei Gitala Ugavre Bal Korche. Another story where a person wasn't behaving, he wasn't giving a get for who knows how long. Sometimes, if the husband refuses to support his wife and he doesn't want to get divorced, so we force him to divorce her. She's married to him, she has nothing to eat, and he's refusing to give a get. So that's one of the reasons you force somebody. There's different reasons when you can force somebody. You don't go over to the guy the first day that he doesn't want to give a get and beat him up. Obviously, it's a process. The Rav Sheish Ashkeli Gitala Ugarver Bal Korche Vomalu Sahade. And then after they forced him, he tells the people there, Rav Sheshes told me to tell you that the get is over, to be mevatel the get. Rav Sheshes said to be mevatel the get. Says the Gemara, Rav Sheshes Gita Achrina. So think about it. Did the husband say cancel get? No. He said, he blamed it on the Gadol Adar. He said Rav Sheshes said to cancel it. That's called Gilu Milsa. It's only in his head. We understand from that he wants to be mevatel the get, but he never said the words, I want to be mevatel the get. Yet, Rav Sheshes said he must give another get. In other words, Gilui Das in a get is a good thing. It works. We understand what he wants, and therefore the get is no good. Says the Gemara, and what is Abaye going to do with Rav Sheshes? Seems like a great raya. Abaye after Rav Sheshes mevatel Gittin didn't have. So Rashi says a beautiful lashon. What right does Rav Sheshes have to be mevatel this guy's get? He's not even. Nobody in the right mind would think that a gadol could cancel somebody's get. I write a get. Somebody writes a get. He writes a get. Chaim comes and says, "Oh, the get is batal. Doesn't work. It could be the galadar. It doesn't matter. The husband has to cancel the get." So what does it mean that the husband said Rav Sheshes said to cancel the get? Obviously, he didn't say that. It's not even a Gilui Das, says Rashi. It's nothing. He was mevatel. He didn't want to get beat up again. Okay. So Mela. Okay. But how do I know that Gilui Das is not enough? Rabbi Yehuda, another forced case. Forced this guy to give a get. Ubatle. And then the guy was a chever man. As soon as they finished beating him up and he wrote the get, 2 seconds later he screamed out to the Eidim, I'm about to the get. Tona Ashkele didn't help, so they grabbed him again, they forced him again, put his head in the water, waterboarding, and then he wrote another get number 2. As soon as his head comes out of the water, Ubatle, he's mevatel again. So then they learned that this guy is a tzaras macher. He's refusing to give a get. So he tells the witnesses, put earplugs in, gourds, whatever you need to put into your ears so you don't hear. Write the get, and you're not going to hear anything. As the Gemara, when you see the husband going and screaming, what do you think he's doing? He's having an attack? He's trying to say something, you just don't hear him. But what is he trying to say? It's Gili Das like no other, but he's saying, I don't want to get to be a get. You see that he's chasing you. Why is he chasing you? Rava. Maybe I should say this the famous Maaser before I say Rava, so we can understand Rava better. There's 2 guys in Russia schmoozing on the street. All of a sudden the KGB pulls up. So one guy says to the other guy, listen, I have a permit, I have the license, I could be here. You don't. I'm going to run. They're going to chase me. When they chase me, then you disappear. So he starts running. KGB starts chasing him, or chase. He gets to this public bathroom. So the guy catches him. He says, what are you doing? He says, here, I have a permit. But why do you run away? Don't you see I'm chasing you? He says, yeah, but I have to go to the bathroom. But I'm chasing you. I thought you have to go to the bathroom also. I want to get to the bathroom first. Okay, fine. Now that we know that, Maisa, here, Virava, hi the Karoi Basrayu. Yeah, it might make sense. Why is the guy chasing him? Obviously, he wants to tell you to not give the get. No, maybe the Amalu Ashur Havilo Haya. Maybe he was chasing to say, listen, do it fast, because I don't want to be waterboarded anymore. They almost broke my arm twice. Just give her the get. Maybe that's what it means. Okay? What I'm trying to say is that it's not the pashas. The obvious thing is that he's chasing to say, don't give the get because he did it already twice before. But Rav is saying it's not 100%. When you don't have 100%, and you could be mesupik, maybe the guy ran away to get to the bathroom before him. Maybe. Oh, maybe not. Okay, so once I put a doubt in your mind, that's enough to say that's just the Gilui Das. In other words, I want you to do it quickly so that they don't give me any more tsar. What? Huh? That's a different tsar. But this one, when they broke his 2 arms and they left him with 1 leg, then he said, enough of the tsar, please. He hopped to them and he said, give it. Yeah, we had this case. We said last week, a guy is sitting in jail. I mean, you can imagine what's going on here. He's sitting in jail for 10 years. 10 years of his life for only one reason, because he refused to give a get to his wife. And at the end, he gave the get. So people put themselves in a position, they become so... It's just like, this is the only person in the world, and they have to fight that person till death. And that's it. He's willing to sit in a jail cell for 10 years. I can't even imagine the tsar of sitting in a jail cell. So here's a guy, gets beat up. Right? Yeah. By the way, I don't know if I should say this Maaser. Maybe if I have something not to say, maybe it's better not to. Okay, fine. No, that.
Look at you.
I'm melting wild.
People can't change. Look at that.
That story.
Well done.
Listen to this.
No, it's fine.
The story that I witnessed. There's an interesting twist to it. The story that I witnessed, where they beat up a guy until he gave a get. Mamish beat him up, and he came prepared with a knife, and he stabbed one of the guys. It was a whole mess. And it was the wrong thing for him to do, because you don't stab some of those guys. Those guys are not guys you want to stab. Like, it was going to be okay. Like, they're just going to, break one finger. But at the end, they ended up breaking a lot more because he stabbed them. And then they took him, and I probably shouldn't say that. They threw him in front of the hospital on Ocean Parkway over there, the beginning of Ocean Parkway. What's the name of the hospital? They opened up the limousine door, and they threw him out. So now they come out of the hospital, they see a guy half peggering. So they took him, they brought him in, and they discovered that he has, besides all the broken bones and everything, that he had cancer, a stage that if they wouldn't have thrown him in, if he wouldn't have had all these broken bones, he would have died from cancer. So it actually saved his life. I don't even know what the Musar Haskell is exactly. Don't give a get. It's kedai to get beat up because maybe, I don't know. Okay, I hope these are the things that make it to the. It goes. Eli said, okay, fine. How do I know that Gilu Das doesn't work? I have to say it straight out. A person said, if I don't come in 30 days, then it should be a get. Also, Paskim Abara. He came, and we had the story just recently, and we had it in the Dharm, same story. He missed the boat, right? Rabbi said he missed the boat. Here's the picture. We have a good picture today of it. Mamesh, he's wearing tzitzis, the whole deal, and he's screaming, Chazuda Asoy, Chazuda Asoy. He made a condition. I will come back within 30 days. If I don't, then the get is a get. Omar Luhu, Chazuda Asoy, Chazuda Asoy. Look! Okay. Now, before I go weiter, I just remembered I have to share with the Olam, and I shared it before, but to me it was fascinating when I was in Africa. We were crossing, I don't remember if it was Tanzania, we were going into another country. Right? There's another safari in another country, not with you guys. And we saw hundreds of semi-trailer trucks lined up on the street, and you just pass them by. So the Jeep driver explained to us that there's a river, and a semi-trailer truck cannot go over the river. So they have to get onto this little ferry. Here I have a picture. I didn't take it, but here's a picture of this ferry. Mamish like this. This is what it looks like. It could hold one semi-truck, and it takes a half hour to go from here to there. These guys, what we take for granted, a small overpass in America, like every other street has an overpass, that's all you needed over there. That overpass cost these people 2 weeks of their lives. They sit there for 2 weeks without a guzma, because there's hundreds of trucks backed up, waiting to cross this river into the other country. Maaser Shaya. That's if we don't realize what we have, and we take so for granted. This bridge, that bridge, Verrazano Bridge, we pay $650, $820. They're waiting 2 weeks. Mamish, you see them mingling and running around and schmoozing and playing chess, and it's just unbelievable. One at a time. Okay, fine. So he's screaming, Chazuda Asoy, Chazuda Asoy. And Shmuel says, the get is a get. You hear? But he's screaming, he's waving his hands, Chazuda Asoy. But Lamaisi didn't cross the water, so I don't care about your Gilu Milsa. So says Abai, from here you see that just because you even hear him. Here, I'm here. I just can't complete my t'nai. Please. Understand what I'm saying. Understand what I'm saying is not enough. What should he have done? He should have done something very simple. Get mevutel, get mevutel. Instead of screaming, Chazuda Asoy, he said the wrong words. He should have said, I'm mevatel the get, and it would have been batel. It's not considered coming. Rava says, Rava, what kind of rise is this? What? He wanted to cancel a get? He made a mistake. He thought that he has to concentrate on the condition. And the condition is that he has to come across the river. and he didn't come across the river, so he explained to everybody that, look, I'm trying to complete my condition and I can't. He made a mistake. He shouldn't have been focusing on the t'nai, he should have been focusing on the get. At the end of the day, his t'nai didn't happen. So if it didn't happen, it is a get. What he should have done is focus on the get and say, I'm evatel the get, and then it would have been fine. Another person said, if I don't come for 30 days, then it should be a get. I'm sorry, I read it wrong. If I don't get married, he tells his arusa. So again, we'll just show the picture, why not? There's something called erisin. He just gave her a ring. It's very strong. She's a ishasish. In order to get out of that, you need a get. The next step is nisuin, which is a chuppah. That's complete. You also obviously need a get. So he says, listen, we are engaged. Usually it took about a year from engagement to marriage. We're going to get married. I know I've been pushing it off for a year and a half already. We're going to get married by Rish Chodesh Tammuz. By the way, Agun Chodesh, everybody. By the way, and I try to remember, but I usually forget, it's a good idea to eat something special today as a su'uda, Rish Chodesh su'uda. Okay, next. But the 30 days came when he promised her he's going to get married. I was so busy with the chasana, you don't understand how much work it is. I was getting my kala dress or my chasen dress and whatever. So we go back to one of our, you say this in Shas, ein oines begitten. There's no such thing, there's no claim, oh, I was too busy. What about our sugya? Look, I wanted to do it and I'm actually trying to make a chasana, I'm working with the caterer and everything, you should know that I want to get married. It's actually machloikis, Abaye v'Rava, and who do we paskin like? Abaye. The Gili das Begittin is nothing. Says Taisus all the way in the bottom last line that even according to Rava, he would also agree over in this case. Why? Because he wasn't trying to be Mvatal the get, he was just trying to be Mekayim T'nai. And we said if he's just trying to be Mekayim T'nai, like screaming Chazud Asoy, that doesn't ruin anything. It's still a get. He says, if I don't get married by Rish Chodesh Adar before Purim, it should be a get. Anybody that did construction here in Israel knows exactly what's going on here. What? I said the job is going to be done by Rish Chodesh Adar? Are you crazy? I never said such a thing. How's it it's not even possible to do it by Rish Chodesh Adar. What I said 100%, I said Rish Chodesh Nissan. You must be out of your mind that you think that I said Rish Chodesh. What are you, crazy? But it's written. And you wrote it, not me. Okay, fine. If you just do a little construction and you know exactly what I'm talking about. Yes. I never said Rish Chodesh Adar. I said Rish Chodesh Nissan. There's no such thing as a what, how do you say oinus in English? Nobody knows that. Me either. Okay, great. There's no, there was a...
That's beyond your control.
Uncontrollable circumstances. Four letters, and he has to give me 45. What?
Yeah, that's better.
Who?
Hello.
No, thank you. It's English only. Again, says the Gemara, Vilchasa Kenachman. Rabbi said this is not where Nachman came from, and because you'll see on the top, Kenachmeni. Vilchasa Kenachman. So let me just show you real quickly to remind the Olam. We had a Machlokes Rav Nachman Rav Sheshes, and this is yesterday's art, but we're using it today. Rav Sheshes says in order to cancel before Gamliel's Takana was in front of 3. Rav Nachman says it's in front of 2. And we paskin like Rav Nachman that it's in front of 2. Now, Vilchasa Kenachman, also we paskin this, that the halacha says, remember I told you to remember this? This is on the bottom of Lamed Gimel, Amud Beis, 2 lines from the bottom, it says, halacha ki Rebbe b'shteim. The Rav Nachman paskins in both of the machlokes between Rebbe and Shmuel, like Rebbe. V'hilchasa kenachmeni, and the halacha is, okay, this is just Mevadah. Okay. Where's this? Next. This one. Yal kigam. Rashi doesn't bring all the things, but Yir Shalom Das, Eidzomim, Lechi Oimim Me'elav, Kedishin Shalom Nimsur L'Biyah, Gilu Das Beget. We're the Gimel. Gili das beget. Only Abaye and Rav are mentioned every daf and shas, whatever. You know what I mean? It's mentioned. They're mentioned in hundreds of machlekes, and only 6 did Abaye win. And here's one of them: that Gili das beget is not enough. You need to say straight out with your mouth. Mumel oichel nevelis trevas lahachis. Okay. There's a tzlach that gave a drasha for a year and a half. He started on Shabbos Tshuva, the different drashas that he gave. Why is it in this order? Because usually Midas is Bamatzia, which is in the middle of Shas. It should have been a different order. A whole thing that one was with the Brisa, unbelievable. We just turned to Daf Yomi Beis, sponsored by the Friedman family, for their sisters, Shoshana Lea, Bas, Pechaz Eliezer, and Chana Etel, Bas, Pechaz Eliezer, V'ilchazik and Achmeni. Zok the Elegant Mishnah, sponsored by Eli Friedman, for my dear father, Chaim Avraham, his dear father, Chaim Avraham, Shalom Yeruchim, Ben, Yisrael David, Allah Shalom. Shoshana.
Eli, the turning of the daf, we don't have a sponsor moving forward.
They're making a macha. The turning of the daf macha.
If someone wants to sponsor it without wording, that's also...
If somebody wants to sponsor without wording, beautiful. Mamish. By the anonymous worder. We'll mention his name the first and last day. Zog the Mishnah. I want to talk to the guys in Zoom, but every day we don't have time. We keep on running out of time. A person has 2 names. So he has shkoyach. You give the shir and we'll start at 6 o'clock. Who's this kid that just said that? What's Yal Kigam? Not bad. But what does it stand for? The 6 places that that loves like Abaya. You get over here. Come, get over here. In the beginning of a person had 2 names. Use Shalom Aleichem. What's your name? Tell everybody your name. Avraham Yitzchak what? Martin. You have the right to make fun of me in middle shir and say your jokes, because you know what's going on.
I did what Dr. Factor does all the time.
Yeah, but Dr. Factor is sleeping most of the time, and you ask him, well, Yalkigami has no clue. You know you could do it. He doesn't have rishus. Get back to your seat. So in the beginning, they just wrote the one name. In this city, he has a name. Everybody knows him by this name. You write this name. I has another name. Or the city has another name somewhere else. They call it in America. They call it the closest city to Yerushalayim. The city that's only 20 minutes away. The city in America that's 20 minutes away from Yerushalayim. They don't call it RBS. Whatever they call it RBS. Whatever they call it here. You guys have no idea what I'm talking about. They would just use one out of the 2. So he made another takana of Reb Gamliel that. Right in the get, either he writes v'chol shum sheyesh lo all other names, or they literally write all the names here. So, for instance, we have this get here. So right over here it says, "Ano Dan," the miscarried Donald. So he has 2 names. He writes both Dan and Donald. Okay. By the way, this is like svarim were written on these lines over here because the issue of names and people have English names and Hebrew names, and they have people know them like this and know them like that. It becomes very messy. And this woman and all her other names that she has, so she doesn't go with the get, and they'll tell her, "Oh, you just remarried and you have 3 kids from your new husband. Guess what? You were never divorced." Who's Donald? His name's not Donald. We don't know Donald. We know Don. Bekitzer, it could cause a lot of issues. They told Reb Gamliel from Chutz La'aretz they sent him in Eretz Yisrael. Bnei Adam habayim misham lekan. People here we have people who come from Eretz Yisrael to Chutz La'aretz. Shema Yosef v'karin lo Yochanan. Yochanan v'karin lo Yosef. Heich megarshin tzisayim. Yeah, there's the famous Maaser. The guy Yochanan daf slacker. He's like, he hates his name. Make fun of him, daf slacker. So he goes to court. He says, I want to change my name. I hate my name. What's your name? Yochanan daf slacker. So what do you want to change it to? I want to change it to Yosef daf slacker. Okay. So here we have a guy. One place his name is Yochanan, one place his name is Yosef. Hey, should say, what should they do? Omad Rivka V'iskin, he made a takana. She kaisen ish ploini. That this guy's name v'chol shum sheyesh and all his other names. Isha ploinis v'chol shum sheyesh. This is a shayla Rishonim. Does he write exactly all the names, or just a general thing, and he has other names? V'chol shum sheyesh v'nei tikkun oilam. Amar Ravashi v'hu this chazik v'trishmei. That's only when we know and they establish that he has two names. It's not that he has. Some people have names that nobody knows about. That we're not talking about. We're talking about that they use the name here, they use the name there. Interesting, Rabbeinu Tamir. I think we once spoke about it recently, that if a person becomes a mummer, the guy goes off the derech, he becomes Muslim. It happened. There's actually, I saw a Chassidish couple, Lo Aleinu, became Muslim. So they change their name, he becomes Muhammad, she becomes whatever. So now, let's say he becomes a mummer, and they demand a get. They do roitzani. They force me, so I'm not going to give her a get. Force him. So what do you write in the get? You write Muhammad, Diskri, Moshe? What do you write? Says Rabbeinu Tam, you don't mention his Goyish name. So some want to say, so if your name is Phil Byrne, Phil, he changed his name completely to Pinchas. Even he went to court, I think, he wants to change the Gevald because he's living the daf. What about Mark Ashkenazi, Gary Ben Moshe? What do you write in the get? You write Gary? Chas v'shalom, not Gary. Whatever, you know what I'm saying. So some say, yeah, Rabbeinu Tam says not to mention the Goyish name. But no. That is when you give a real Christian name. You write, his name is Christian. So then you don't put in the get. But a guy just has Phil, that you could put in a get. Okay. Zog the Gemara. You're right. There are other people that agree with you that it has to be an established name in order to force it into the get. Tanya give us the Ravashi that it has to be established. Here he has two wives. One lives in Galil in Eretz Yisrael, in the Galil, up north, and one lives in Yehuda. And he has two names, Donald and Dan. So in Galil they call him Donald. In Yehuda they call him Dan. And because he was divorcing his wife in Yehuda, the one in purple, I think we should get rid of it. Every time I see it, it makes me nervous. He only used one name in each place. Eina Mugureshes. She's not divorced. Why? Because he has two established names. One in Galil, one in Yehuda. So in both Gittin, you have to write the established name. And also write, like Rivka Gamliel's Masakin. Write both names. That was the Takana. Add the name of Yehuda. But if he went outside of Eretz Yisrael, what's going on here? Okay, you get the whole point. There, Dan and Galil, Donald, and okay, great, no good. Now, what if he went outside of Eretz Yisrael? He's not in Galil, not in Yehuda. And he only used one out of the two names, Mugureshes. Says the Gemara, something doesn't make sense. Something doesn't add up. You told me that in Galil he must use both names, even though they only use one. In Yehuda he must use both names, even though he only uses one. His name is Dan, whatever. How come in Chutz La'aretz he could get away with one name? We must say in Afkamina because in Chutz La'aretz it wasn't established that he has a second name Donald. Everybody uses only one name, so you could get away with one name. But when it's established, you must use both names that are established. Shmami, no, it's a great right. There's a woman who most of the time, 90% of the time, they called her Miriam. A few people knew her, like in school when she's in kindergarten, they called her Sarah. They said Miriam you have to write Miriam and all the other names that she has, and also Sarah. But not v'loy Sarah v'chol shum sheyeshlo. Don't do it fakert. That her name is Sarah. Use the one that hardly anybody uses. And also, by the way, they call her Miriam. That wouldn't work. Rabbi Sai, have a wonderful day.